record. Welcome to another episode of Sounds Reasonable. I am your host, Dr. Brad, and I am joined in the production of our weekly show by Tim, Tracy, and Abby. We're all members of the Free Thought community, and our Sounds Reasonable website can be found on Facebook. Do you experience frequent irrational thoughts, a pervasive belief in a divine sky daddy, an insatiable urge to read horoscopes, perform spells, speak in tongues, or pray? Fortunately, you are now listening to the cure for these ailments. Sounds Reasonable. This show is dedicated to bringing you, the listener, the latest news in free thought, science, logic and reason, and politics and religion. And of course, we encourage you to share your thoughts with us after every episode by posting comments and asking questions on our Facebook page. What is free thought? What does it mean to be a free thinker? The dictionary definition is a person who forms opinions about religion based on reason, independent of tradition, authority, or established belief. Here's Christopher Hitchens' working definition. Our belief is not a belief. Our principles are not a faith. We do not rely solely upon science and reason because these are necessary rather than sufficient factors, but we distrust anything that contradicts science or outrages reason. We may differ on many things, but what we respect is free inquiry, open-mindedness, and the pursuit of ideas for their own sake. We'll now move on to our science news segment, and remember that the scientific mind is one that allows its perceptions of reality to be constrained by good evidence and good argument. Now, I imagine most of our listening audience has watched the movie Contact. Have all of you seen Contact?
Yes, I have.
I haven't.
You
I
haven't?
don't think.
Okay, so with Jodie Foster.
Right.
As an astronomer, but anyway, if you haven't, you should. It's a good movie.
Was she raped in a bar on a pool table?
No, that was a different one. I forget what the name of that one was. It was actually on a pinball machine, but
That's a different type of contact.
but yeah,
Different type of contact.
yeah, no, it wasn't that one. So the crux of the movie is that a signal is detected from outer space containing information to build a device that is supposed to transport a person to a location where they can communicate with aliens. Well, this, of course, is science fiction. The SETI project, that is Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, is not. This project continues to look for extraterrestrial radio signals. Of course, what has been found to date are all results of natural phenomena. Another such signal has recently been reported and is the subject of our science news segment. The article I'm going to relay today was published by CBS News. It was authored by Sophie Lewis and is titled NASA Tracks Source of Mysterious Fast Radio Bursts, and we'll be referring to those as FRBs, sending signals to Earth. Now, don't panic, but mysterious sources have been sending radio signals to Earth for years now. Scientists have tracked down some of their origins, and they were surprised by what they found. And no, it's still not aliens. Using NASA's Hubble Space Telescope, astronomers have traced the locations of 5 deep space signals known as fast radio burst or FRBs, excuse me.
Verbs.
What?
Verbs.
Verbs, something like that.
Verbs.
In a thousandth of a second, these powerful blasts generate as much energy as the sun does in an entire year. Which, that's concepts like that in cosmology are just mind blowing. When you think about the tremendous energy sources that are out there. Around 1,000 FIRBs, we'll go with that, have been detected since the first one was discovered in 2001, but they are notoriously difficult to track because they disappear in an instant and without a trace. Only 15 of them have been tracked to specific galaxies. Scientists are interested in tracking where these intense pulses are coming from so they can determine what kind of cosmic events trigger them. In the new study, set to publish in the Astrophysical Journal, researchers using Hubble's wide field camera were able to pinpoint 5 out of 8 recent FIRBs to their host galaxies, as well as the kinds of locations they originated from. One feature of all these distant galaxies is their spiral arms where stars form. Our results are new and exciting. This is the first high-resolution view of a population of FIRBs, and Hubble reveals that 5 of them are localized near or on a galaxy's spiral arms, said lead author Alexandra Mannings. Most of the galaxies are massive, relatively young and still forming stars. The imaging allows us to get a better idea of overall host galaxy properties, such as its mass and star formation rate, as well as probe what's happening right at the FIRB position because Hubble has such great resolution. Some of the arm structures were more tightly wound while others were looser, showing the differences in distribution of stars. The images indicate that the FIRBs likely do not come from the galaxy's youngest, most massive stars. The flares likely do not originate from the explosive deaths of these young stars, nor the merger of neutron stars, scientists said. They also do not come from dwarf galaxies, which scientists previously failed to rule out as a possibility. With each new discovery, astronomers are narrowing down the possible explanation for these mysterious signals. We don't know what causes FIRBs, so it's really important to use context when we have it, said team member Wen Fai Fong. This technique has worked very well for identifying the progenitors of other types of transients, such as supernovae and gamma ray bursts. Hubble played a big role in those studies too. The team's findings support the idea that FIRBs originate from the bursts of young magnetars, a type of neutron star with powerful magnetic fields. Scientists call them the strongest magnets in the universe, 10 trillion times more powerful than a refrigerator door magnet. So imagine trying to get your refrigerator open if a magnetar was holding the door shut.
Good diet technique.
There you go. That's what I was just going to say. Maybe that's nature's new diet technique.
Then you got to go to McDonald's, so.
Use a magnetar to keep the door shut. Now, owing to their strong magnetic fields, magnetars are quite unpredictable, Fong explains. In this case, the FIRBs are thought to come from flares from a young magnetar. Massive stars go through stellar evolution and become neutron stars, some of which can be strongly magnetized, leading to flares and magnetic processes on their surfaces, which can emit radio light. The galaxies observed in the study existed billions of years ago, so scientists are observing them as they appeared when the universe was approximately half its current age. Now, many of them are as massive as the Milky Way, which is also a type of spiral galaxy. The galaxies are all located between 400 million and 9 billion light years away from Earth. This is such a new and exciting field, Fong said. Finding these localized events is a major piece to the puzzle and a very unique puzzle piece compared to what's been done before. So to visualize some of the events described in this article, here is a YouTube video showing artist renditions of some of them. So Tim, if you could go ahead and run that, please.
Fast radio bursts, or FRBs, are extraordinary events that generate as much energy in 1,000th of a second as the sun does in an entire year. Astronomers using NASA's Hubble Space Telescope have traced the locations of 5 brief, powerful radio blasts to the spiral arms of 5 distant galaxies. Because these radio pulses disappear in much less than the blink of an eye, researchers have had a hard time tracking down where they come from and what causes them. Locating the galaxies where these blasts originate is important in determining what astronomical events trigger such intense flashes of energy. The Hubble Space Telescope helped researchers narrow the list of possible FRB sources. Since their discovery, astronomers have uncovered up to 1,000 FRBs, but only about 15 are associated with particular galaxies. In this new Hubble study of FRBs, astronomers pinpointed where those bursts occurred within their specific galaxies. These images display a range of spiral arm structures, from tightly wound to more open, revealing how stars are distributed along these prominent features. These clues helped researchers rule out some of the possible stellar objects originally thought to cause these brilliant flares, including the explosive deaths of the youngest, most massive stars, which create gamma ray bursts and some type of supernova. Another unlikely source is the merger of neutron stars, the crushed cores of stars that end their lives in supernova explosions. These mergers take billions of years to occur and are usually far from the spiral arms of older galaxies that no longer form stars. This study suggests that FRBs do not originate from the youngest, most massive stars or from older stars in a galaxy's central bulge. However, it is consistent with the leading model that FRBs originate from young magnetar outbursts. Magnetars are a type of neutron star with powerful magnetic fields. Called the strongest magnets in the universe, magnetars possess a magnetic field 10 trillion times more powerful than the magnets on your refrigerator door. These magnetic fields lead to flares and magnetic processes that can emit radio light. Although the Hubble results are exciting, researchers need more observations to better pinpoint the source of FRBs so they can develop a stronger understanding of these enigmatic flashes. This field of study may need a lot more research, but thanks to observations made with the Hubble Space Telescope, we're getting closer to understanding the mysteries of the universe.
Cool.
All right, so comments. What do you think? Pretty cool, huh?
Cool. Lots
Yeah.
of mysteries out there in the space.
It's just again another example of how brilliant the thought was to build the Hubble and put it out in orbit, and just
Right.
tons of stuff that we're learning about the universe and with the Hubble. So, and of course, SETE and those other things that people will balk at the funding of. Another example of the funding that we need just to further our knowledge, scientific knowledge.
Yeah. Go ahead, Tracy.
The more we're learning, the more mysteries we're finding too.
Mhm.
It's fascinating. Fascinating.
The more we learn, the more questions that come up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So go ahead, Abby.
Oh, I was just gonna say I agree with those statements, but I have a lot of background noise. That's why I'm not saying much.
Yeah, so for our audience, neutron star forms towards the end of the life of very large stars, but they're not quite large enough to go nova. So your largest stars will collapse to the point of creating a supernova explosion. But neutron stars aren't quite that large. They're large enough such that the gravity that is produced is so high that all the electrons on the atoms that were orbiting the nucleus of those atoms are absorbed into the protons of the nucleus, therefore converting them, if you will, to neutrons. And so all that's left is this huge ball of neutrons. Now it's been said that if you were able to somehow get a teaspoonful of neutrons from that, that would be heavy enough to literally make a hole right through the earth. It would fall. Imagine having a teaspoon of something that is heavy enough to cause a hole in the earth. That's
So don't eat it. Don't eat it.
right. So don't eat that.
Don't eat it.
Do not eat that teaspoonful of neutrons.
Well, spoonful of neutrons will make the medicine go down.
Make something go down.
Yeah.
Again,
The cure for constipation.
Yeah.
Again, when you hear stuff like that, it just reminds me of the phrase that the universe is not only stranger than we imagined, it's stranger than we can imagine.
Right.
And these types of things like that are just absolutely fascinating, and this just another example of it.
Exactly right.
Very cool.
All right. Well, I think we'll go ahead and take our first break. So we'll be right back with more Sounds Reasonable.
All alive. The devil's in the detail, lingered inside. Oh, a holy crime. But how can I hide you without an alibi? It's a lover's fight without an alibi. You took my innocence. I can't wait no longer. I'm playing with the monsters. Everything that brought me alive. Going wrong like nonsense. Playing with the monsters. They brought me alive, but got no alibi. It's a lover's fight without an alibi. You took my innocence without an alibi.
And we're back with more Sounds Reasonable on May 23rd, 2021. Well, it was only a matter of time before the Republicans started blaming Joe Biden for any of several quote unquote ills that this nation has. However, I don't think anyone ever imagined one of those would be Chick-fil-A sauce. Tim has the story. So, Tim, are the thousands of Chick-fil-A devotees going to have to go without sauce?
Well, I guess according to some Republicans, Biden is trying to do that, trying to take away your Chick-fil-A sauce. And again,
No!
looks like, yes, it's just another. It looks like it's another conservatives have added another thing to their list of what liberals and progressives are going to do to Americans.
Anything but that.
Yep, take away your guns, raise your taxes, and now take away your Chick-fil-A dipping sauce.
No,
Yeah,
no.
Yep.
Before
Yeah,
we go further,
well, you know how us libtards are. We're coming to get your dipping sauces.
Go ahead, Abby.
I was just gonna say, fuck Chick-fil-A. We'll just.
I haven't eaten Chick-fil-A in probably 12 years or however long, whenever the gay thing happened.
Not that the food is bad, but the people who own it need to kick rocks. So
Yeah,
I was just going to say that I always go to Chick-fil-A on Sunday.
Sundays, that's the best day,
Yeah.
best day to go. Yes.
That's the best day to go, and then flip them off as you drive by.
I remember years ago when all of that started happening, I was a kind of a photographer at the time, and I took a picture of a female National Guards woman making out with another woman in the Chick-fil-A bar in front of Chick-fil-A. And we put it all over the internet. It was great.
Nice. Talk about this. What goes on at Chick-fil-A? Well, so the story I'm relating comes to us from a broadcast by the Young Turks on May 18th, and it's titled "Ted Cruz Cries About Chick-fil-A Sauce Shortage." But really, it started off with Oklahoma's governor, Kevin Stitt, S-T-I-T-T, I guess. That's who was blaming President Biden. If you can't dip your Chick-fil-A chicken in your favorite dipping sauce, so you got to blame President Biden, of course. And according to the governor, it is the liberals' politics of President Biden that have caused this shortage of dipping sauce.
Thanks, Biden.
Yeah, but get this, he's not the only Republican politician to be concerned about this shortage. Even Senator Ted Cruz, Republican of Texas, is concerned about what President Biden is doing about the dipping sauces. So yeah, so we're gonna watch a few minutes here of TYT's discussion on not only the Republican, I'm sorry, not only the libtards taking away the dipping sauces, but also some other shortages that we're being blamed for. So let me share my screen here.
This could be true because I don't even use dipping sauces. So maybe.
Or you're helping to alleviate the shortage then.
Exactly. That's fair.
I'm kind of just, I guess I don't understand why. Like, is it like the high calorie content that we're worried about, or is it the those little plastic containers are bad for the environment that we're worried about?
No, that's not it. We want to punish the Christians.
Yeah.
So we
by
just
taking away their honey mustard.
I guess so.
So we're just vindictive people. Is that what's going on? Okay.
Yeah. Let's listen in on the Young Turks here.
Americans want to know, who is the sauce boss? Who is the person who is responsible for a shortage of dipping sauces over at Chick-fil-A? Well, Republicans luckily have done a full investigation on this matter, and they have determined that it's their political opponent, Joe Biden, who of course has no power over a sauce shortage over at Chick-fil-A, but that doesn't stop them from saying insane things. So Governor Kevin Stitt from Oklahoma said, Chick-fil-A has a sauce shortage, which I do admit is a tragedy. And you want to know why? Because of Joe Biden's radical liberal policies.
These guys are a hilarious joke. We're not anywhere near done.
No.
There's other people that are going, he's gonna say more. But if you don't have honey mustard, well, now you know who to blame, okay? Biden did it.
Listen, you need the Polynesian sauce to dip your waffle fries into, Jake.
You just need it.
You need it.
And who's to blame? Obviously Biden.
Let me
Look,
give you more.
Guys, we blame Biden for a lot of things based on evidence. Israeli policy, Saudi Arabian policy, not fighting for $50 minimum wage. There's like real policy issues you could blame Biden about.
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A sauce. Proceed.
No, but I love it because Stitt feels very passionately about this. He didn't just release one statement, he released several statements about it. Conservative governors are the absolute last line of defense
For Chick-fil-A sauces.
We're fighting to block liberal policies and promote common sense policies to bring down the price of gas, to lower the cost of groceries, and to make sure Chick-fil-A never has another sauce shortage.
He's actually saying it. That's an actual governor in America. In a statement going, I will rain down hell about this Chick-fil-A sauce issue we have. That's among the 3 biggest problems in Oklahoma, huh? That's amazing.
Ted Cruz, though, has weighed in. Luckily, thank you. We needed someone in the US Senate, in federal government to weigh in on this matter. And of course he did, tweeting a story about the sauce shortage and saying that Joe Biden is destroying America.
No, guys, they're not kidding. Joe Biden is destroying America. I didn't get the ranch sauce either. America's destroyed. What are we gonna do with Chick-fil-A without ranch sauce? What are we gonna do? Utter destruction. Watch, Lauren Boebert's next.
Is there no limit to how awful Biden's America can get?
And she put the sauces on there. Wait a minute, how'd she get her hands on those?
I think she's stealing them.
Is there no limit to how awful Biden's America can get?
Okay, believe it or not, I'm going to take this joke of a story. And when I say joke, I love this story. I think it's hilarious. But these jokesters who are part of the story, I'm gonna turn it into a positive by actually talking about a little bit of substance here.
All right,
okay. So, a few things are happening right now, including, yes, the price of gas did go up. Is that Joe Biden's fault, or is it the fault of the largest pipeline in the United States getting hacked because a private corporation, a private company that owns this pipeline decided that they wouldn't spend any money on their cybersecurity, which then led to them getting hacked with ransomware? When that happens and the pipeline that delivers gas to 45% of people on the East Coast, once that's inoperable and there's a shortage of gasoline as a result, what do you think happens? The price of the gas goes up because supply is down. Supply and demand. I thought Republicans were totally into that. Supply and demand, everybody. So do Republicans want to maybe regulate private industry to ensure that they're spending some of their profits on beefing up their cybersecurity? No, they don't want to do that. But they want to blame the price of gas on Joe Biden because most people, they're assuming, and I think they're probably right, aren't gonna look into why the price of gas has gone up. The price of lumber has gone up, right? Which makes construction of new housing pretty difficult to do. Is that Joe Biden's fault, or is it because we're still undergoing a pandemic, and during that pandemic, the production of the lumber necessary to build these homes was at a halt? And it takes a while for things to, get back to where they were prior to the pandemic. So that's another thing. And yes, inflation is a problem, but can we have an actual discussion about where inflation comes from, what led to inflation? Maybe the fact that the Federal Reserve has been printing money and handing it over to banks and corporations, that plays a role in inflation. But they would have you believe that it's Joe Biden's fault. Inflation is happening, it's Joe Biden's fault. I mean, partly, yeah, I think you can legitimately tell the American people that Joe Biden, as the president of the United States, should pressure the Federal Reserve to increase interest rates, but they don't want that.
No, they would hate that.
They would hate that.
Yeah. So, but this goes to the major point that Anna often makes, and is so right, which is they got no policies. That's why they're at the bottom of the Chick-fil-A barrel. I mean, they've debased themselves with having these nonsense conversations, and every one of it is nonsense. Oh, the Democrats are going to ban burgers. No, they're not. The Democrats and the liberals banned Dr. Seuss books. No, they didn't. Dr. Seuss's family decided not to print those books, and you're trying to make a private person and family do what you want in printing the bad books that they don't want to print, that they don't make money from, right? And so now, I can't believe this story. Now we're talking about Republicans think one of the major issues in the country is the Chick-fil-A sauce shortage. And they say it with a straight face, like, oh no, that's the governor of Oklahoma. He thinks the shit hit the fan. He's like, oh my God, this is like, why everybody panic. Don't worry about climate change. Don't worry about your low wages. We're never gonna increase your wages. You can't even buy that Chick-fil-A sandwich with the minimum wage we pay you. Don't worry about healthcare or anything like that. They're out of ranch. They're out of ranch. It's Biden's fault. They're a joke. They're a literal joke. The entire Republican Party is deeply humiliating. If you're a Republican, you should hide your face in shame.
Okay, one other thing that I want to bring up though, because there are all sorts of shortages right now that should be discussed. And so you might have noticed that the chips necessary to, produce technology that we use and rely on, we don't manufacture that here in the United States. It's manufactured elsewhere and then imported from the countries that it's manufactured in. Our supply chains are obviously very vulnerable to things like pandemics. And that has led to an increase in prices for products that are, reliant on that chip. So are we gonna have a discussion about maybe actually genuinely bringing back manufacturing jobs to the United States? I mean, Republicans are certainly not interested in that. They claim they are, but that would require employers in the United States to stop exploiting cheap labor elsewhere to ensure that we're manufacturing necessary products here in the US. They're not gonna do that. So like, if they wanna have a real conversation, I'm down. I would love to have a conversation with any of them.
Yeah.
But don't come at me with, it's Joe Biden's fault. It's Joe Biden's fault. You guys are stupid and embarrassing, as Cenk said.
It's both.
Okay, so we'll stop.
I liked her Republican, her impression. It's Joe Biden's fault. Joe Biden's fault.
That was legit, like very good. That was very good. I also like just give it to him straight. Y'all are stupid. Like that's just dumb. Like you don't have anything else to worry about.
You're so stupid.
You don't beat around the bush there at all.
No, that was good. We're on a ranch. Fuck.
And again the
she without Polynesian.
So I guess this is a warning to all Republicans. The Biden administration is just getting started here. First, it's Chick-fil-A, and next it's going to be Buffalo Wild Wings. So we got to get ready because here comes the sauce hoarding. Sauces are going to be hoarded now.
Yeah.
I'm going to hoard sauces and I'm going to sell them in the alley.
There you go.
Yeah.
I am.
And again, the main point, as they got into later on, is that there's a lot of things that the Biden administration is being blamed on that again are not under his control, and so as I think Anna and Cenk were are correct, that the Republicans have become desperate, trying to find problems in America that they can use to tarnish the Biden administration. And they're really, really scraping the bottom of the barrel, trying to come up with things. So.
Well, I think what she said, and just like hits the nail on the head, is that people, and yeah, I'm gonna be biased here. Specifically, Republicans are too stupid to actually look into any of the issues. They, like they hear things like, oh yeah, gas prices are high, Joe Biden, we're out of sauce, Joe Biden, like Joe Biden's ruining America. And they're literally just sheep. They just follow that. They don't think for themselves. And they just like it doesn't even make sense, but they're too stupid to actually look into what's causing those issues. And it's easier just to blame it, and they just believe it, at face value. It's insanity. The critical thinking is insane to me.
Well, he has this going for him. Thanks Biden doesn't roll off the tongue as well as thanks Obama did.
That's I was going to make the point there. When during the Obama administration, is when
Thanks,
the gas
Obama.
prices dropped below $2 a gallon, and so I took a big picture of one of the convenience store I go to. I took a picture of their sign and posted on a Facebook and saying, "Thanks to Obama, look, gas prices have now dropped to under $2." And you should have seen the responses I got about that.
I'm sure you did.
You don't seriously believe that, do you? You don't seriously believe that he had anything to do with that. Well,
I think I've come up with the solution for this whole sauce thing,
Good
though.
one.
If you've seen Fast Times at Ridgemont High, that movie,
yeah.
Mhm.
Brad Hamilton, who's one of the main characters, is talking to one of his buddies, and he says, "Hey, what's the secret sauce at Bronco Burger?" And he says, "Ketchup and mayonnaise." "What's the secret sauce at All American Burger?" "Thousand Island dressing."
Yeah.
So I just substitute those.
Right.
Right.
We just say, "Hey, we've got two new secret sauces: it's ketchup and mayonnaise and Thousand Island dressing."
Yeah.
And
Make some more sauce. Make some other
Well,
sauce.
Yeah, ketchup and mustard mix. There you go. Ketchup and mustard. Mix that sauce up.
You guys are spoiled. You got all those sauces.
Yeah.
I don't use sauces. I grew up poor. We didn't have sauce.
Saucy.
Oh, I love some sauce, but
Yeah.
I'll get my
Spoiled.
I'll get my waffle fries elsewhere. I give no fucks about supporting Chick-fil-A or their sauce shortage. You can.
I used to do that thing where I'd go through the drive-through and order a large water. Did you do that?
No.
Because it cost them for the cup.
Right.
I was all in on that.
And they gave it to you every time, did they?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, they did.
You said, because if you don't give that to me, I'll never come back here again. You'll never get any of my money.
I want your money. I want your cup. I want that nickel.
Right.
Nickels add up.
Oh man, Tim, that was awesome.
That's not the crazy story for today.
No, that's not.
Our normal Tracy's coming up with that later.
Believe it or not, folks, that was not the crazy story.
No.
I know, right? What am I doing here?
Tracy will have the crazy story here in a few minutes. Believe you me, you're going to want to stay around for it. So let's go ahead and take another break, and we'll be back with more Sounds Reasonable.
Messing with my head again. You had your heart set on me, but these feels, they come and go, and they come so easily. Tell me what it is about you that I can't forget, but you're breaking down my walls again just to set me free. Why do I, baby, why do I love the way you always leave me? Why do I, baby, why do I love the touch but never love the feeling? Why do I, baby, why do I love the way you always leave me? Why do I, baby, why do I love the touch but never love the feeling?
And we're back with more Sounds Reasonable. Trump and his supporters just cannot accept that they were defeated in the 2020 election. All kinds of.
I haven't been following really.
We're 6 months since it happened. So
I got bored.
You didn't know Trump was defeated?
all kinds of weird and wonderful conspiracy theories have popped up, and now at least one Republican state legislature has hired a company to do a further audit of the ballots. Abby has the story. So Abby, where is this audit taking place and who is carrying it out?
Well, so as far as the audit goes, which seems quite ridiculous, like Tracy said, like this is still happening. Like why are we still doing this? Seems like we should get over it, but we're not. Well, some people aren't. So this is in Arizona, which of course had a flurry of false information about ballots and them being tampered with. There were stories about the ballots being from China, if they were paper ballots, and somehow that was, I don't even know how that makes sense as a way to influence the election. And maybe they were made in China. What does that have to do with anything? And then the voting machines. So of course, there's been a ton of scandals about the voting machines because they have been tampered with, obviously, and definitely it was the liberals that did this so they could win the election, and it's all against Trump. So of course that's happening. So they're still doing audits, which is seems pointless, but this was happening in Arizona, and the story, it was published May 20th, 2021 by Brad Reed from Raw Story. It's the title is Arizona Vote Audit Sinks Deeper into Insanity as State GOP Chair Threatens Her Own Officials with Arrest. So of course, Trump is still pushing for this audit to happen, and Trump supporters are still pushing for these audits, even though overwhelmingly over and over again, we have shown that there was no issue with the election. But it says the Trump-backed audit of the 2020 election in Arizona is sinking into madness as Arizona GOP chairwoman Kelly Ward this week threatened her own party officials with arrest. The Daily Beast reports that the audit has been driving divisions within the state GOP even deeper, and Ward is now pushing for the arrest of Republican election officials in Maricopa County if they refuse to comply with the auditor's demands. There have to be consequences, Ward earlier this week. There could be arrests of people who are refusing to comply. The audit of 2020 election has drawn widespread criticism and ridicule from election experts who have called it unprofessional and completely biased. Among other things, auditors have been mocked for searching for bamboo fibers in ballots, which they say would prove nefarious Chinese influence over Arizona's election. Does that make sense?
Bamboo fibers and panda poop.
Then
Do bamboo fibers multiply like bamboo? Like just actual bamboo?
yeah, maybe that's, and oh, you know what? Maybe that's how it happened, is the bamboo fibers created more Biden ballots. I mean, who's gonna look into that?
The humidity in the air gave them the water
Yeah.
to grow.
Well, no,
Yeah.
obviously it's the bamboo fibers that changed the voting machine that caused the change to make sure that it only clicks off on the Democratic.
I just figured it out, man.
I think it's all of the above. I mean, who's gonna say it's not? Like, who's gonna look into that? It's
True.
fine. We can just say things that have no evidence, and it's fine.
It's fine.
Faith,
If people watched our show, they would know.
Well, also though, but the Trump ballots. So additionally, some Trump supporters have accused the Maricopa County election officials of shredding the Trump ballots because they picked those out and shredded them before they got to the machines. And they were feeding them to chickens
chickens.
Yes, they fed them to chickens because we had to get rid of the ballots. And then just in case the chickens did not do a good enough job digesting them, they had the chickens incinerated. So that way it covered up all the evidence of this scheme by the libtards to change the election.
Why not? Why chickens and not like hogs? Because a dead body should give hogs because there's nothing left.
Yeah, I
heard that. I heard it.
I've heard it.
The shit and the hogs ate them. That's
Right.
the thing.
Well, maybe they just had more chickens available at the time. I don't know. I don't think there's a lot of hogs in Arizona, so maybe that's why.
That heat's a little tough on the hog.
I think maybe there's not enough mud.
Chickens.
Yeah, chickens do better. Maybe they're road runners.
Because they're all a bunch of peckers.
Maybe they were full.
A flock of road runners.
Sorry, Abby, please continue.
Sorry.
I mean, that's the story, but there's issues here too because and Brad brought this up, the cyber ninjas. So there's a huge issue with this in the first place because all these voting machines that they're having, audited to look at. A lot of it is was put on this company called Cyber Ninjas out of Florida, another great state, and they just handed over like these machines and were like, look into voter fraud, and then they're like, well, now we can't use these machines ever again. We can't really trust what this private company has done to the machines. I mean, like, honestly, like they literally just like handed over these machines. Like, how do you know what these private company is going to do with these? It's all insanity. And I feel like where does it end? Like,
they've definitely been out too much in the sun in the summer heat in Arizona because it's baked their brains.
The summer heat.
Baked their brains. It's just insane. Again, it's just another example of how desperate they are to try to find anything to discredit the Biden's presidency or Biden administration. They're desperate.
The other thing that strikes me is that this is incredibly short-sighted. Do they honestly think that if they've decided this is the route to go, that there would never be a Democrat attempt to now undo a Republican election? Do they really think that that's the way things are now? First of all, they should realize they're outnumbered by at least 7 million in the United States, Republican to Democrat, and it's probably higher than that. And like I said before, it is well past time for majority rule in this country. What should be done is the elimination of the Electoral College, the elimination of the filibuster, and let's have majority rule. And
rank voting. Let's do that too. I like the idea of the rank style voting. If you haven't heard of it, you should definitely look into it. It's a pretty cool system, and it helps basically keep down all the false information and negative stories and stuff going out, because you choose more than one person, and then like as people like majority rules, then like people are eliminated. So yeah, you guys, if you haven't heard of rank style voting, totally doable, totally able to do you wouldn't have to change any constitution, any amendments, nothing like that. It's totally possible.
Would that in essence eliminate primaries, Abby?
Yeah, basically. Yeah. So you.
Yeah. Yeah, I have heard.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a really cool system. I can't remember what state is doing it already. Maybe Maine, or there is a state in the United States that does it for their for their state elections already. And it's done in quite a few countries as well, in Europe, and it's awesome. And it basically eliminates the need for political parties as well. So America, I don't know if we'll ever.
America. It's America, by the way.
Anyway, we're in incredibly dangerous territory with this stuff going on, and we literally escaped losing our democracy by about what was it? We mentioned that number the other day. I think it was about 83,000 votes. Is what was the difference between having an electoral college for Trump versus Biden.
Yeah, well, and I think a big thing about like the voter turnout was so high. I think it really threw a lot of people off, and the Republicans and the conservatives have really ran the voting for so long, because those are the people who got out and voted. And now, people are, I hope, recognizing that they have a say. And so they are practicing their right to vote. And I think that was a hard hit to the Republican Party, because that's where you see a lot of the people that don't agree with them finally vote and voice their opinion. And if we keep seeing that, if we keep seeing the majority of people go out and vote, we're gonna see the results that we saw last year.
And the Republican Party recognizes that, and so that's why now they're pressing all these state voter laws, because they've admitted that the only way they can win is to stop Democrats from voting.
Right. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, exactly.
Then one other thing I was going to mention, again, Brad, kind of that really connects to doing away with the filibuster. I think it was wasn't for the 9/11 for the Insurrection Commission. They got together and had passed came up as not partisan, but came together, compromised, came up with this deal and plan on how to put this commission together, right? And then after they agreed and the Republicans checked off on this, and I think Mitch McConnell checked off on it, and so okay, everybody, the deal is made. And then after the deal is made, then they say nope. Mitch McConnell said nope, we're not going to do it.
Yeah, we had 35 Republicans join all of the Democrats in the House to vote for that January 6th investigative commission.
Yeah.
McConnell's approach is, well, we're not going to allow that to happen.
Originally, he had signed off to do it. He had given permission to do it originally.
Right.
Well, then after the fact, they said they came out. I think there was like 5 or 6 Republicans that spoke out against it, and Mitch McConnell was one of them. And they said, oh, it's unnecessary. We don't need to do that. It's unnecessary. Like, we already know we've already handled things. We don't need a commission. Like, it's fine. We don't need to investigate it. And there was also, and I could be wrong in this, but it might not be with the same deal, but there was money involved there to put forth, like, not only the investigation, but also looking into security, and then like helping specifically the Democrats, because they were the ones that were kind of targeted, look into it. And so I think that's where people started having a problem, is that specifically representatives that were Democratic were getting some of these funds because they're the ones that were targeted. And so all of a sudden there was a problem in that way.
Yeah, I mean, it's simply a process that should have been eliminated a long time ago. It's a holdover from the South versus North, attempting to hang on to slavery, is exactly what the Electoral College is, and it needs to be eliminated. I mean, there's just no two ways about it. And same with filibuster. So,
Hold on, wait, Brad, the Civil War was about slavery? No. I heard from the history textbooks that it wasn't because of slavery.
I heard that too.
Yeah. that it was slavery was just like another issue, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
The Civil War wasn't because of that.
It was very minor.
Yeah, it was like everybody agreed with slavery, so like that was like barely a thing for the Civil War. Like,
yeah, my great grandpa owned slaves, and he was very good to them.
oh yeah, I'm sure he treated them very well. Most slaves were treated well. Yeah.
because after all, a lot of them said no whippings on Sunday. It was a day of rest. So.
Yeah.
Free room
and they got water once every 2 days.
Free room and board.
Yeah.
Free room. Yeah,
Yeah, free room and board.
Yeah.
They gotta have babies with all of their masters. I mean, that was like obviously a benefit, right?
A 15-minute break for labor.
Yeah, that gave them a break from working in fields.
They got to go on a cruise to America.
Oh my God, that was good. That was a good one.
All inclusive.
Yes, it was. Captive audience.
It was one of those like Disney style cruises, right?
Hey, Daddy, tell them what they want. America.
God. The sad part is I feel like people really say things like this to justify it. Like I know we're making fun of all those idiots.
We are making fun of this. We don't.
None of us.
Yes.
I mean, make a disclaimer that none of us actually believe any of those things. But the sad part is that other people do. That's the really tragic issue here, is that there are people that claim all of those things that we just said.
Sure. Yeah, they claim that their lives over here in America was better than they had it in Africa. I'm sure there are people that honestly believe that.
I mean, they say the same thing about the Native Americans. When we killed, tortured, and whitewashed them, it was like, but it's for the better. Like, they were savages. Like we helped them.
We civilized them. We civilized them. We
Jesus.
gave them corn to eat that time.
Yeah, we gave them land.
We broke bread.
We taught them ownership of land.
After we took it.
We had to give
the land, and then we
gave them the other land, the stuff.
On the best land.
Territories really were without the government providing some borders.
Yeah. Well, and they took their children and put them in schools. I mean, they provided education. They gave them free haircuts. I mean.
And they also gave us free haircuts. Come on now.
But they didn't get a cruise though.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we've gone far enough.
Wait, what were we talking about?
What was the story about again? Election fraud.
So we'll be right back with our crazy story of the week.
Oh, we haven't had that already?
I'm feeling so hollow. Don't you know? Don't you know? I'm living in shadow. Don't you know? Don't you know? I fell for I fell for fool's gold. What did I know? What did I know? I fell for fool's gold. I fell for fool's gold. What did I know? What did I know? You were fool's gold. Yes, I did.
Well, there is nothing like a good story about angels and demons to make a good movie. However, when a person honestly thinks these things exist and claims to have photographic evidence for them, and things really get fun or crazy. So Tracy has the story. So Tracy, just what do these demons look like?
All right. This is from the Friendly Atheist by Hermit Meta, posted May 14th, 2021. And I brought my flask. Self-proclaimed Christian prophetess, how do I say that? Prophetess?
Prophetess, yeah.
Prophetess Kat Kerr, who thinks there's football in heaven. Let's hope, right?
Exactly.
That God will put back any baby lost through a miscarriage, and that God keeps a warehouse in heaven for anyone who needs, for example, a new kidney, now claims she has definitive proof of angels. The title of this, by the way, is Prophetess. I'll show you a picture I took of demons in chains if I find it. It's like in the basement somewhere. It's in there. It's in there somewhere.
Buried in all the other photographs.
She's not very organized. I mean, we've all been there. Speaking with the ever gullible Steve Schultz earlier this month, Kerr explained how she has a picture of Heaven's army dragging demons in chains past the roof of her house.
Sure that wasn't Santa and a sleigh.
That's what I was thinking. Santa and a sleigh. What day was this? Were there sparkles, sprinkles? Okay. You can't kill a demon, people. You couldn't do it yourself at all, okay? Number one, they're spiritual. You're physical. That's just not going to happen. Not going to happen. If you had a physical sword, it would pass through them. It wouldn't do anything to them. All right? So this is the thing. You can have them bound, and your guardian angel, number one, is not one of the hosts. I have to let you know that. Those are totally separate.
Okay, that's straightened out now. Okay.
What was that?
That's straightened out now. I've got that clarified. Okay.
You got it? You got it? Okay. This is for real. The guardian angels come under Gabriel, okay? Your guardian angels mostly look like people, but with wings, okay? The hosts don't. Yeah, even if you have the tattoo, I think that counts.
Okay. All
right. The hosts mostly don't ever look like people. They look like creatures. Or they're made out of things like light or sound, but they're real and they're fierce. They can battle the demonic. They can shred them, but not kill them. It's like those worms, the ones with the little heads.
Oh, planaria, right. They just
they're like just like those. You got to mash them up or something to kill them.
Yeah, burn them.
Burn them, burn them. Yeah, that's what my neighbor said. And I mean, they will literally shred them. They can leave marks on them, but they can't kill them. I've seen, if I can find it, I'm going to show it on a live stream. I'll just hold it up and show it to people. I literally took a picture one time when I first invited Heaven's Army, according to the protocol the Father gave me. I invited Heaven's Army to be one of my weapons. They began showing up outside in the sky over my home. And one time, not kidding, there was a whole group of them. The ones that look like lions, they're the royal guards. They had some demons in chains, brought them over my roof, and I got a picture. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding.
Sure she wasn't watching like Ghostbusters?
Maybe. They were showing me the ones they had captured and were dragging either for judgment, because I haven't been in the courtrooms in heaven where sometimes demons are dragged up and judged, and then the Father deals with them. They're either thrown in a dry place, they're thrown in chains. That's what spirit force is all about. They're going to learn so much about that. So I don't have time. I won't answer any questions, but I can tell you, you can command your army if you have an army. I have no idea what the hell she's talking about. And Schultz isn't about to ask relevant follow-up questions, because he believes anything anyone tells him if it's in the name of Jesus. But back to the picture. If Kerr has this picture, why isn't it the only thing she ever shows anyone? Why talk about what heaven is like when she has actual proof of angels and demons? Right now, she's an internet laughingstock. Yet the one thing that would prove her critics wrong is something she mentions only as an afterthought and treats it as if it's just some minor little thing she'll get around to if she has time. That's because Kat Kerr is a Christian liar. I know that, you know that, but too many gullible people, including the one guy she routinely does interviews with, sorry, are willing to accept her lies at face value. She has no picture, but you can bet Schultz will never ask her about it in the future.
I think we've got a story opportunity, Tracy. Why don't you try to get a hold of this person, get them on Sounds Reasonable?
Hell yeah. You know what? I will go to her house. I will go to her house and I will help her find that picture.
Yeah. Let's start going through the albums.
I'll pose as one of those organizers and I'll do it for free somehow. It'll be like she'll win a free organizer session.
Maybe sure your flask with the rosary. Maybe that'll work. There you go. That's what it looks like. You got a little rosary there on that flask.
Okay. I'm pretty convinced from the stories that you know what this flask is all about.
We'll share some rum. We'll pass it back and forth. Or actually, I want what she's got.
What are you taking?
So what she's
That's
got.
some good stuff. Oh man.
I feel like that's always the case with these things, though. Is like, oh, I saw it, and I have a picture, I have a video, but then it's like, then why is there none? Like, how could you possibly believe in any of that? I mean, if over this, with the technology we have, I mean, think about the story we started with Brad, my kid's yelling at me, with Brad talking about the Hubble Space Telescope and detecting radio waves from other galaxies. And now we're like, but if ghosts are real, we really can't get a picture of them.
See, I mean, I'm a little bit gullible. Like, I gave this guy a ride the other day and he was telling me all about this giant spider, and I wanted it to be true.
How big was the spider?
It was the size of a queen size bed.
Oh,
That is a big spider.
that
Yes,
would be big.
that is a
God.
And he wanted to go there, and then I kind of picked him up on the side of the road. It was a far away. He was trying to go like 6 miles, and I was like, oh, I'll give you a ride. And we couldn't find the house, but the spider had grown to the size of a queen size bed, and it was in the bedroom, and it had already eaten his girlfriend, his oldest child, his pastor, a police officer, and paramedic.
Oh,
Wow.
you need to interview him.
100.
And he said all you had to do was throw a couple grenades in there.
Hence, he's homeless now.
Well, unfortunately, we couldn't find the house. And my big question was, how come this wasn't on the news? I didn't see this anywhere.
Yeah, I think I might have been newsworthy.
They didn't want to cause a panic.
And I was like, what is that on your arm? And he said, I just got out of the hospital. And I was like, oh, I understand.
Oh.
He probably broke his ankle or something.
Yeah.
I used to have this Far Side cartoon in the lab. Yeah, Tim, you may remember this one because I had it in there for years, long time. But it shows this guy with his camera, and it shows Bigfoot, the Loch Ness monster, and Jackie Onassis all standing together, and the caption reads, "Just when Bigfoot, the Loch Ness monster, and Jackie Onassis all appear, Bob's camera jams."
I thought it was going to be without film or something. He forgot the film or something like that. That's great. It would have all been blurry anyway, or at least Bigfoot would have.
So it was kind of funny last night. We were sitting outside and Starlink had, I think, launched.
More.
Are they satellites? Is that
Satellites, yeah.
okay? I just wanted to make sure that was the correct, I guess, term. If they were satellites, so they launched satellites. Well, we're sitting outside and someone looked up and was like, "What the hell is that?" And then, there's just like a string of them, and they go in a straight line. And I don't even know how, like 50. I mean, there's a lot of them.
Yeah, there were 50. Yeah.
Is there, okay, so there's a lot. And then, so they're like, oh my, a couple of the people that I was hanging out with started kind of freaking out and like, oh my God, are they UFOs? What's going on? Like, just start panicking. This is crazy.
Yes.
And trying to take, so they're trying to take video of it and like pictures. And they're like, oh man, for some reason, I can't take the video of it. It must be, no, can't. And it was just like reminded me of that idea that like, oh yeah, you see a UFO and all of a sudden there's no video. Like, why can't we take a picture of this?
They were blocking the picture waves.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. So, and I think even somebody said something like they have anti-video technology. And I wasn't 100% sure if these people were kidding or not, so I was just like, why is every, and then but this one guy, he starts calling people and telling people about it and stuff, and he calls this guy and he's like, hey, look up at this guy, what did you see that? And the guy's like, yeah, dude, that's Starlink, Elon Musk. And he's like, oh, okay. Hey guys, it's that Elon Musk guy. I was like, holy shit, did this guy really believe that there was something like supernatural about what's happening right now? Because I was just like, why is everybody freaking out about this? Like, this is not a big deal. But yep, we couldn't take a video of it because it's anti-video technology.
Right.
Obvious.
So we have no proof of the aliens last night that we saw. Just saying.
Another opportunity blown.
Yeah, I mean, next time.
Oh, 30.
Next time. It's actually kind of funny if you think about like all of the drones and Starlink and things like that, satellites. I mean, people get really freaked out about that stuff and they think it's something that it's not. And it's like, okay, well, they're another example of poor critical thinking skills within our population.
Carl Sagan has a good explanation for that actually in his book, The Demon Haunted World, Science is a Candle in the Dark. So
Love that book.
if you've never read that book, get it, read it. It's definitely worth the time. Well,
All righty then.
thanks so much for that crazy story. It definitely qualified. And
They were all crazy today, all of them.
It's been a crazy Sunday.
it has been a crazy Sunday. We've had a lot of fun today. Well, that will wrap us up for this week. Just a quick programming note that we will be off next week to celebrate the Memorial Day holiday, but we will be back with our 1-year anniversary show on June 7th. If you've enjoyed our program, please pass the word to your friends and associates, believers and non-believers alike. Again, just a reminder that you are welcome to post questions and comments on our Facebook page. Remember, there is an enormous difference between having good reasons for what one accepts to be true and having bad ones. Incidentally, this is the only distinction one needs to become a strict atheist. This has been Dr. Brad for Abby, Tracy, and Tim saying so long.
So long.